Hello, I am Vanessa McLean, and today I'm talking with Dawn Howard. We're just having a quick conversation, and one of the things I wanted to find out as a speaker trainer is, what is your speaker style, your signature speaking style? One of the coaches that I work with, Dr. Ruben West, he's created a questionnaire that you can identify what your style is. Now, Dawn, do you know what yours is?
Well, I was surprised because it said I was a motivator, and I felt like I was more of the heart speaker. I felt like, I had that caring, loving speaking style, but no, I'm supposed to be a motivator, so I'm excited.
Did you find out what your secondary? Did you find out what your secondary style was?
It was the heart-centered.
The heart-centered.
Yes.
And I did mine as well, and surprise, surprise, mine came out as an empath first, and the second one was a motivator. Was I surprised? Not really. Now, the reason why I say that is because I know over the years, I always looked at my mother. She was always inspiring people, always motivating them to be their best version of who they are. And I feel as though I've taken some of that out of her, and I live my life that way. Even when I'm not having the greatest days of my life, I'm still able to see something in someone to give them that ray of hope. So yourself, being a motivator, where do you think that came from?
I'm not sure. I just, I feel like because of the way I care about people and the way I want to help them walk into their purpose, I'm developing something different and being more empowering and speaking to them on a more empowering basis and not just talking about the education.
And that's what it is. That is what it is. And one thing I do know, the more I work with people who understand what it is like, not just to be a speaker, but to be able to tell your story in strategic ways, it's important to know who and how you're delivering your message. Not everybody wants the motivation. Not everybody wants the statistics. We learn in so many different ways. Some like the hair inside, the kinesthetic side, the videos, the reading. You've got to know your learning style, and you've got to learn how to deliver your message so that the people who are receiving it receives it and take it and do what they're meant to do with it.
Absolutely. I always try to know who my audience is before I do an event, so I can kind of connect with them on whatever level it is. So if it's women, or if it's a combination of women and men, if it's an older crowd, if it's a younger crowd, just being able to connect with them on those levels and knowing how to reach them in that manner. And so that would also determine which particular monologue or spoken word piece that I might share with them, or if I might share art with them, or if I might dance, or whatever it might be.
And it's great to be a speaker because we all have a mouth. We don't always use our mouth in the most effective way to deliver the message. But one of the things I do know, Dawn, is that when we're telling our stories and delivering our messages, there has to be different components. We've got to learn to develop the humorous side to it. We've got to add some of the facts to our message or to our story. And of course, always engage people. Here we are today, just having a simple conversation, but just also trying to understand, how do we connect with the people that we're speaking to? What language are we using that draws them or repels them from us?
Absolutely. It's so important that, again, that and you can connect with people on a level, understanding what, number one, how they're speaking to you, what they expect from you. Are they coming to hear a specific message from you? All of those things are important.
Mm-hmm. Dawn, my parents came from Jamaica, and sometimes growing up, the things they said, because of the cultural space that they came from, it made you question, are they being aggressive or are they being loving? And they would turn around and say something like, "You're stupid." And now I'm saying, well, no, I'm not stupid. But sometimes it's the way in which they articulated the conversation that you don't understand what they're saying. So for any speaker, know your audience. That's what Dawn alluded to a little while ago, so that when you are presenting, there is no confusion about the message that you are conveying.
Yes, I agree with that. It's kind of like a text message, because when you're texting someone, no one can hear your tone. So they can't understand whether you're screaming at them or whether you're talking to them in a certain way. I mean, even if you're saying a comma or a pause, all of those things are important. What type of dialect you're using when you're talking to people. All of those things come into play.
And that puts me in a very kind of peculiar place, because I'm past the millennial age.
Me too.
Just a little bit. I don't think that grey hair is a part of a sign that tells you something. But I think in order for us to really be most effective in this time, we've got to be friendly with the technology. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of texting, but I know that if used in the correct way, you can become very profitable. But also the communication, you won't get lost in translation. That's the point I'm trying to make. So whatever tool you decide to use, whether it be texting, whether it be phone, whether it be video, whatever platform you decide to use, know who's on the other end and how they're going to receive that information, and then what they can then do with it, because the message that you've communicated is clear.
Yes, I just received a Black CEO text. It's like, they're asking for speakers on the morning show. So it's so important, because they understand what that audience is, who these Black CEOs are as part of this group, and that they would be responsive to a message like that they would want to get their business information out there. But if you just sent it out to just someone that wasn't interested in business, then there would probably not be as much of a response. So you have to be familiar with things like that. It's the same with Facebook groups or anything else that you use as far as technology.
So know your market, then you'll know what language to use for that particular market. And you'll also know what tools to use to transport the message.
Yes.
And of course, in your case, the Black CEO sent you something for one of their speaker platforms. And it's for you to say yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I said, this is just a brief conversation we decided to just have in the spur of the moment. And here we are using another platform. It's available for anyone to use. What's your message? Get that message out clearly. Ruben West has a signature speaking style assessment, and I'm not quite sure of his website, but what I will do is put it below this video so that you can find out what's your speaking style, so that you're speaking to the right audiences and getting the results, because we're about changing lives and making a lot of cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yes, I've sent that assessment to several people.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I am Vanessa McLean. I've got to keep it rolling. I've got a lot to do, but Dawn, on this point, I have to go.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
It's a pleasure.